Hello everyone and welcome again to another one of our tutorials brought to you as part of our feature on 60 years of the synthesizer with computer music. In this tutorial we're creating a patch that we're calling Only Zoo. This patch recreates the opening synth sound that you can hear on the Yazoo track Only You. Yazoo were one of the first of the synth pop duos, featuring Alison Moyet on vocals with her extraordinary sultry bluesy voice, alongside the amazing synth talents of Vince Clarke. For this episode, we're going to be using our ZebraCM plugin again, and we're working in a copy of Logic. So open up your favoured DAW, load in an instance of ZebraCM, and let's get started. The first thing we need to do is initialize our patch. So we're going to go to the menu and display at the top, come down to the very bottom of the menu where it says Init for Initialize, and click. Now we need to move to Oscillator 1 and check that we have a sawtooth. We can see that we have a sawtooth by default, but it's always worth checking. Before we do anything further to alter our sound, we're going to make sure that the volume isn't going to peak too high. So we go to the Master Volume Control right at the bottom of the plugin on the right hand side, click and hold on the Master Gain, and turn that down to the 12 o'clock position, which should yield 50% in the upper display. This is a relatively simple patch, only using a sawtooth on a single oscillator. We also want to use a particularly crunchy filter, so if we move over to the filter section, we want to check that we have the LP, low pass, 12 dB filter initiated. This is actually the default filter, and being a 12 dB filter is sometimes described as a two-pole filter. Now we need to change our cutoff control on the filter, so moving to the cutoff pot, click and hold, and drag that down to a value of 23. That's quite low, but you'll see why in a moment. The reason it's set so low is because we want to induce some resonance at a certain pitch, also on the filter. This will be an intrinsic part of the patch's tonal colour. So let's increase the resonance control to a value of 90. Click and hold, and drag it up until it reads 90 in the upper display. We also need to make an alteration to the pot which is labelled Key Follow, which is also found in the filter section. This needs to be turned up all the way to 100, which is its maximum. What the key follow does is it allows the cutoff element of the filter to be tracked via the keyboard when you play it. Hence, the resonant will be tuned in line with the notes that you're playing on the keyboard. Now we're going to adjust the volume or amplitude envelope of the sound, and we're going to do that using envelope number 1. We need to make 3 alterations here. First of all, on the decay pot, we need to drag that down to a value of 28. Secondly, on the sustain pot, we need to drag that down to a value of 0. The reason for this is we want no sustain in the sound whatsoever. Finally, we need to go to the release pot and change that to a value of 21. You should now find that you have a sound a bit like this. If you listen carefully, you can hear a very sort of high resonance sound picking out a harmonic, which is the sound of the resonance on the filter. The final element that we want to add for this sound is some delay, and we're going to do that in the form of an effect. To create the same effect that you hear on the original track, we're going to do a couple of different things rather than just plug in a delay. The first thing we're going to do is pan the ZebraCM hard left. We're also going to use either a bus or an auxiliary, depending on the terminology used within your DAW, to send this same signal to another channel which will have a delay on it. We've set it up in Logic as bus number 1. We then need to send an amount to that bus or auxiliary, which we're doing from this pot here. Then when you look at the bus that it's being sent to, make sure you have a delay, something like a tape delay, plugged in and ready to go. As an opposite to the panning for your ZebraCM, pan the tape delay on the far right. Finally, open up the tape delay and set the delay to a 16th note delay. And also set the feedback of the delay relatively low. This means that you'll get one repeat and hopefully no more. This means that now when you play, you'll hear the sound on one side of the stereo image and the delay on the other side of the stereo image. Hope you enjoy this patch, and we'll see you again.